Plaintiff Michelle Dufault is suing her former friend Victor Carrillo for an unpaid loan and pain and suffering due to a sexual assault. Michelle says she believes the defendant assaulted her while she was sleeping, but Victor insists he never did anything more than kiss Michelle, and he's countersuing for lost wages and defamation.
All rise. The Honorable Judge Jeanine Pirro presiding.
Hello, Jimmy.
Afternoon, Judge. You may be seated.
Okay, Michelle Dufault is suing Victor Carrillo for an unpaid loan and pain and suffering, and Victor is countersuing his former friend for lost wages and defamation of character. Okay, Michelle, tell us why you're here today.
I met Victor because I was working at a UPS store, and he's the UPS driver that would pick up our last drop of the day. I liked him right away when I met him, and I would ask people and Victor what kind of sweets he would like, and I would bake them and bring them in on Wednesdays and Fridays.
Like, what would you bake?
He liked white chocolate macadamia nut cookies.
Wow. Did you?
I do.
Okay, Michelle, so why are you suing him for an unpaid loan?
And we started talking on the phone and text messaging and taking, like when he would come for the deliveries, we would have a cigarette break. We tried to meet up on a couple of dates, and that fell through a couple of times. And then over Labor Day weekend, we were supposed to have a date, and he was supposed to meet or call me around 7 o'clock.
Did he?
No.
What? Okay. What happened after that?
So at about 9:30, he still hadn't called, so I figured he was
Did you
off.
stand her up?
I don't remember, but I must have had something else going on.
You don't remember that weekend that you had a date with her?
I don't.
So he calls, or you call him?
No, he called me at 9:30 and said, okay, I'm on my way over. And I had taken a medication that makes me sleepy.
Okay.
And so I told him that I take the pill and let's get together another night. And
Right.
he goes, well, I'm already halfway to your house. And I said, okay, well, we can just watch a movie. And I told him that he wasn't getting laid tonight.
He wasn't getting what?
Laid. So he gets to my house and we go outside and we smoke.
Well, I got to back up.
Okay.
Was there any discussion about that earlier?
No, but it would be the first time that we met each other outside of work.
Do you remember her saying that?
I remember going to her house.
You don't remember a lot here.
No, I remember
I'm starting to worry about you.
No, I remember going to her house.
You do. Do you remember her saying, I took a sleeping pill, and you said,
No.
well, we'll watch a movie?
No.
Okay. All right, go ahead. How long after you have that conversation does he get to your house?
About 15 minutes.
Oh, all right. So 15 minutes later, he rings the doorbell,
Yes.
and you open the door.
Yes.
You're walking.
Yes.
Okay.
So we go outside and we smoke a cigarette and start kissing. And once again, I tell him he's not going to get laid tonight. And so we go inside and start watching the movie, and I fell asleep.
What a shock. You took a sleeping pill. Okay.
I woke up naked, and he was naked. I was on my back, and he had my knees pushed up, and he was on his knees, kind of like getting ready to open my knees. And I asked him what the hell he was, I'm sorry. I asked him what he was doing, and he said, I thought you said we were going to have sex. And I said, no, I said we weren't going to have sex, and that he needed to get out of my house before I get up to the hallway to press the emergency button on our alarm that automatically sends the police. And he was gone.
He left?
Yes.
Do you know what you have just stated to the court?
Yes.
You have basically outlined an attempted forcible rape.
Yes.
What did you do about it?
Nothing.
Did you call the police?
No.
Did you go to the hospital?
No.
You didn't do a rape kit?
No, because he didn't do anything.
How do you know? You had taken a sleeping pill.
I woke up.
You don't remember him taking your clothes off, I assume.
No.
So how do you know what he did when you were out? What medication did you take?
Amitriptyline. I called Stacy the next morning crying, telling her about.
Who's Stacy?
I am.
Come on up, Stacy. State your full name.
My name is Stacy Dorner, and I used to be a coworker of Michelle Default
At UPS?
at the UPS store. Yes.
All right, tell me about this phone call.
At probably about 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I received a phone call from Michelle, her up in tears, and she had explained to me that Victor had come over to her house and that she woke up not clothed, and she was really distraught. Like, I could barely understand what she was saying on the phone. So I was telling her, you know, it's okay, it's gonna be fine, pretty much just letting her get everything out. I was just listening on the phone.
What did she say to you?
She said that Victor had tried to have sex with her and that she had fallen asleep from the medication that I know she takes every night. That she was just really upset and she was shaking on the phone, and it was definitely hard to understand her on the phone.
What did you tell her to do?
I didn't tell her to go seek any, go to the hospital or anything like that.
Well, you know what? I don't have time to inquire why you wouldn't, but it would seem to me if somebody was calling you and was crying and it was totally out of sorts, that as a friend, the first thing you would do is to tell her to call the police and preserve whatever evidence there might be on her body. Okay. All right. Why don't you sit down?
Plaintiff Michelle Default is suing her former friend for an unpaid loan and pain and suffering that stems from a sexual assault.
What's the first thing you did after you spoke to your friend, after you called her? You were upset, you were crying.
I just stayed. I took a long bath and stayed in my PJs for 2 days.
Go ahead, Victor.
Can I say my case?
You're going to respond to this allegation.
Okay. The only thing that we ever did was kiss, and as soon as we kissed, I left her house because it felt really awkward. I had just gone through a divorce, and I wasn't ready for a relationship. And the only thing that we did was kiss right next to her pool, and I left her house.
You know what? You don't have to be ready for a relationship to have sex with someone who is knocked out on a pill and falling asleep.
I did not even attempt to have sex with her, ma'am.
So you're saying that when she woke up and said she was naked, that you were not there and naked with her?
No.
Did you kiss her on the porch?
I kissed her next to her pool.
So
In the
she's right.
patio.
There was kissing outside.
In the patio, yes.
All right. And then you were going inside to watch a movie with her?
That's what she had said to begin with, but I never did.
Look at me. Did you watch a movie with her?
No, ma'am.
So
No, Your
you're
Honor.
saying you said, look, I'm halfway there. Even though you took a pill, I want to come. You get there, you go outside, you have a cigarette, you kiss, and then you leave?
Yes.
I don't believe that.
That's all that happened. We kissed, and then I felt really awkward. I felt like being out of place because I had just gone through my divorce.
Oh, hogwash. So you get there, have a cigarette, and drive another 30 minutes because now you're some kind of virgin and you're a divorcee and you're afraid to go back into the apartment. I don't buy that. Is that how it happened?
No.
Okay. All right. Go ahead. Michelle, why are you suing?
He was behind on bills, and he asked if he could borrow $2,300, and I'd only known him for a month and a half, so I said no. But he needed $300 to get caught up on his child support. And I said that I would loan him the $300 to get caught up on his child support. But he had to say or sign an IOU. And the day that I had to give him the $300 for his child support, we were really busy, so I couldn't get him to sign the IOU. And I asked him a couple other times to sign it, and it just never got signed. And I quit working there because it was just way too uncomfortable for me.
Did you get money from her?
No, I did
Victor?
not.
All right, so you deny that you received any
Yes.
money.
Okay.
You deny that you asked her for money.
Yes.
You deny that you said you needed money for child
Yes.
support. Okay.
I have the text messages where it says the money was a loan and where Victor.
All right, let's see it. Thank you. Thanks, Jimmy. All right, to Victor from Michelle. Victor, I really want to handle the $300 loan between us. If you do not call or make an effort to pay off the loan, I'm going to have to call my family's lawyer. To Michelle from Victor, I just got my cell phone back. Can I mail you a check or deposit them into your account? I am sorry. I just read and heard your messages. Go ahead, Victor.
She stopped working at the UPS store.
Tell me about the $300.
I never took $300.
Did you ever talk to her about money?
No.
No?
No,
Okay.
not about money. And she's saying that the money that I, according to her, borrowed was for my child support. I have my court order of when my child support was starting to be garnished from my paychecks.
Oh,
which
so,
goes back to
your
June.
mother of your child had to garnish money to pay for your children. You're a great dad. Let me see it. Let me see it. All right. This is a notice to withhold income for child support of $341 per week. All right. All right. Clearly. Now, this proves that money is taken from his check for child support.
He told me he needed money for child support.
You see, if I'm going to ask for money, I'll probably say it's for child support, even if it's being taken out of my wages, because that hits at the heartstrings of a lot of women. So it's your version that you didn't borrow money from her?
No.
Okay. The issue for the court is whether or not the defendant is liable to the plaintiff for an unpaid loan, and the plaintiff is also suing for pain and suffering, and whether the plaintiff is liable to the defendant for defamation of character and lost wages because you had to come to court today. Is that what you're suing for?
Yes, ma'am.
And how did she defame your character? By saying that you owe her money?
Because a lot of customers know me, and a lot of customers will hand checks to me for packages that are CODs, and they're not gonna trust me with any of this once this goes through.
Okay.
Defendant Victor Carrillo is being sued by his former friend for an unpaid loan and pain and suffering from a sexual assault.
All right, a couple of thoughts. You have laid out a fact pattern that is very distressing to me. I've handled many rape cases. I think that the allegation that you've made is one that is not only distressing, but is one that can be sufficient to file criminal charges. You, number one, put yourself in a situation where you took a pill that you knew made you sleepy and you still had him come over. It seems to me that you're staying in all weekend in your pajamas. The fact that you called your friend and made an immediate outcry is very consistent with what I have seen rape victims or attempted rape victims do after an incident. You've got to deal with the fact that you didn't go to a hospital, you didn't call the police, you called a friend, and that's what a lot of women do in a similar situation. Sometimes you want to sweep it under the carpet, sometimes you can't. You've got to come to grips with what may or may not have happened, whether you've told me everything or whether you haven't told me everything. Have you?
I have.
Okay. That is a separate situation for which you have the ability to go forward if you want. But that is your choice, and you understand that. Your lawsuit, however, is for $300. The defendant claims that there was no agreement, there was no promissory note, there was nothing in writing. And what you say is it was so fast. And to be honest with you, Michelle, I think that you were very interested in having some kind of a relationship with the defendant, and you readily admit it, that you were making cookies, that you invited him over, and that even though you'd already taken a pill, you didn't want to lose the opportunity to be with him that night. The defendant has indicated that he hasn't borrowed money from you, that indeed he gets money for child support taken out of his paycheck. I don't believe you, Victor. I think that as between the two of you, she is the more credible. I believe the plaintiff. You are not entitled to any money for defamation of character. Now, the issue that the plaintiff is also suing for is for pain and suffering. That is not a cause of action in itself. That is damages for a cause of action. I believe, and I will amend your complaint, that you are alleging some kind of sexual assault as it relates to this defendant. I'm going to give you $1,000 for the pain and suffering and the stress that you went through as a result of what happened that night. Let this be a lesson, though, to you, that you never put yourself in a situation where you may not be totally awake and aware of what's going on. Verdict for the plaintiff, $1,300.